One of the Republicans who has responded both with press releases and statements, but not with a formal speech this year, was last year's designated Republican responder. He's the junior senator from the state of Florida. His name is Marco Rubio. And I believe that Senator Rubio was the only Republican who was mentioned by name in the president's speech last night. He referred to Speaker Boehner, who was standing right behind him, but he didn't mention his name. He did mention the name Marco Rubio. What did you think when that happened, Senator?
Well, first, thanks for having me on. I don't think it's as important as it is the issue that he's identifying. We just have a different idea about how to do it. He's talking about people that are struggling to get ahead in our economy because of low wages, and his idea is to expand the existing earned income tax credit to reach those folks. The problem I have with that is that the earned income tax credit, as it's currently structured, is not the best way to deliver that assistance. And secondly, it's filled with fraud. We've seen instances now of multiple cases of fraudulent behavior, people accessing that tax credit through fraud. So the proposal we have that we've proposed, called a wage enhancement, is a better way to deliver the same benefit, and we hope that we'll move in that direction. So I think we've identified the same issue, but his prescription for it seems to be more of the same, and that's problematic.
Well, again, almost everything last night was more of the same, and that had to do with the president's Morning in America approach. To hear President Obama tell it, things are going just great in the United States of America right now. Do you agree?
Well, look, I appreciate the optimism about our future. I do believe that the United States is as well positioned as any country in the world, if not better positioned, to take advantage of the opportunities of the 21st century. But we face some significant challenges that we're going to need to overcome. And his solution to those challenges is government stuff, more laws, more regulations, more unilateral action from the administrative branch. And I don't think that's going to solve the problem. On the contrary, I think it's making it worse. So it's interesting that he's highlighting these issues that we're facing as a country, but he fails to acknowledge that either he didn't make them a priority during his administration, or in many instances, the solutions he's crafted for these problems are actually making them worse.
If you were delivering the formal response for the party this year, as you did last year, and you did an outstanding job last year, though nobody paid any attention to anything except your water bottle, unfortunately. But
I actually got it more notice than it normally would be, I guess. It made people go listen to it again, just to catch that.
Well, right. It probably did a lot for the sales of bottled water, too. But in any event, in terms of this year responding to the president, what would you have emphasized?
Well, what I would have emphasized is that the same thing I emphasized last year, the American free enterprise system is the single greatest engine of prosperity and upward mobility in human history. What we need are government policies that incentivize the free market to grow and prosper and create more jobs and opportunity for people. I would have said that the solutions that he's constantly offering, a government spending program here, a new law over there, a new regulation here, a new mandate over there, that those programs actually set us back. I also would wonder, by the way, as I consistently do, why it is that in the middle of this deep economic downturn and the structural changes that are occurring in our economy, did he make it the central priority of his administration early on in his first term to basically remake our health insurance and our health care system in ways that have hurt so many Americans? He made that a priority. It's disrupted our economy further. It's disrupted people's lives, and it's an unimplementable program, as we're seeing every single day.
One of the things that I think that the president seemed to take for granted last night is that the debt ceiling is going to be raised, and Republicans are basically going to roll over and accept his position, which is he's not going to compromise, he's not even going to talk about it, he's not going to deal with it. Would you favor giving the president what he calls a clean surrender on the debt ceiling?
I never have. I've always viewed the debt limit debate as an opportunity to talk about the long-term structural problems that we face. Look, the only solution to the problem of the debt is the combination of dynamic and robust economic growth, which will give us more taxpayers, not more taxes, and spending discipline moving forward. And primarily, in order to deal with the long-term spending problem, we have to address the programs that are driving it. And that's why I think it's so important to save Medicare and Social Security, two things that he didn't even touch upon yesterday. Those things, in fact, he completely ignored the debt. All he did was claim that the deficit's been cut in half. Well, again, that's not sustainable long term. And a lot of that, by the way, is due to efforts by Republicans to force these spending reductions. But those are spending reductions in the discretionary spending, basically, which is the smaller portion of our budget. Meanwhile, the big drivers of our long-term debt that stands now at $17 trillion will go another year, apparently, without being addressed by the president.
He also was very striking. He talked about he's going to make it easier to do infrastructure projects, but he never talked about the Keystone Pipeline, which has been held up for, 4 years now by his administration.
Yeah.
Are you going to keep, I know you fought hard on this before, Senator Rubio, are you going to keep pushing on that?
We are. I mean, first of all, it's a symbolic of the administration's double talk on energy. On the one hand, they talk about how great the economy is doing, or how great energy is helping, how much energy is doing to help our economy. But on the other hand, they ignore the impediments they create every single day. So whether it's, restrictions and regulations that are impeding us from fully developing our domestic energy resources, or in this instance, the Keystone Pipeline, which would strengthen our partnership with Canada, create jobs in the construction and maintenance of that pipeline, and allow energy to flow more quickly to market. He continues to be an impediment to that, largely for political reasons. I mean, that's a unique issue. Even labor unions are pushing him to approve that. But apparently the environmental community and some of the more radical elements of it are standing in the way of it, and he so far seems captive to them on this issue.
Well, I look out and I see all of these races that the Democrats a couple of months ago thought, oh, this is going to be easy, in places like Iowa for the U.S. Senate or places like Michigan for the U.S. Senate. And there are rising, young, exciting Republican candidates who are coming forward to provide reinforcements for the Marco Rubios in the U.S. Senate. Any candidates out there for governor or U.S. senator or for the House of Representatives that you find particularly encouraging?
Well, I think there are a number that we're still learning more about. I think we fielded good candidates across the board. The one that so far we've openly endorsed and begun to do a lot of work for is Tom Cotton in Arkansas, who I think would be a phenomenal addition to the Senate team. A solid conservative, history of serving our country in the armed forces, Harvard-educated lawyer. Really a solid combination, and we hope he'll be joining us here next year.
I assume you take the position that conservatives should emphasize in their fire attacking Democratic incumbents rather than attacking Republican incumbents.
Yeah, again, as people recall, I mean, I was elected taking on the establishment choice for the Republicans, who was Charlie Crist. Of course, he's now a Democrat, running for governor as a Democrat, and switched to independent in the middle of our race. So I respect the right for people to go through primaries. I think that's up to voters. I have made it my priority to focus largely on races where we have a chance to take the majority in the Senate, so that Harry Reid will no longer be the majority leader of the Senate.
And actually that certain kinds of progress could be made, like the proposals that were released yesterday by your colleagues Senator Burr and Senator Hatch and Senator Coburn. Do you support those medical care reforms?
Well, I haven't read the details of the plan yet, so I don't want to take a position on it till I've done that, but I'm encouraged by what I've read so far. Many elements of it are certainly very, very positive, and I think it's good that Republicans are coming out with their ideas. We've always had ideas, by the way, on what we would do instead of Obamacare. Look, we do have a health insurance problem in America, but the solution to it that the president proposed and rammed down the throat of the American people has been incredibly disruptive, counterproductive. It's going to hurt the quality of our health insurance, of our health care marketplace, and it's going to cost, as already is, millions of people their coverage.
Well, last question very quickly, Senator Marco Rubio. Kathy McMorris Rodgers did your job last night. How do you think she did?
I think she did fantastic, and she's a great spokesperson for the party. I thought it was a very optimistic and hopeful message for the country. I thought Mike Lee did a great job as well. I haven't gotten to see Senator Pauls, but I understand he did well, so again, I think we've got some real positive voices in the party offering not just to be the opposition, but to be the alternative to the direction this president and his party are taking our country.
Beautifully said.